The night I went to see my girlfriend, her mom opened the door and said, "We need to talk." I knew this was not going to be a normal visit. My name is Jake. I am 27 and I live in a small one-bedroom apartment in Austin, Texas. It is nothing special. The carpet is old, the bathroom fan makes a loud buzz, and my kitchen window looks out over a parking lot and a noisy taco truck. I work as an electrician for a local company. Most of my days are spent in half-built houses and hot attics, running wires and fixing things people think are just not working for some reason. It is hard work, but it is honest, and it pays my rent and my truck loan. My life is simple. I wake up before sunrise, grab coffee from the same drive-thru that knows my order, work all day, come home tired, shower, and collapse on the couch. Maybe I order takeout. Maybe I watch a game or play something on my old Xbox. I never thought I needed much more than that. Then I met Kayla. She is 25, works as a receptionist at a dental office in town. Brown hair, quick smile, the kind of laugh that makes other people laugh too. We met at a friend's birthday party down by the river. She teased me about my work boots, said they looked like I had been fighting the earth all day. I said the earth started it. She laughed. We have been together for about 9 months now. At first, everything was easy. Texts all day, late-night calls. Weekend drives out to the lake, her feet on my dashboard, singing along to songs she half knew the words to. For a while, it felt like maybe my life was finally more than work and a couch. Lately, though, she had been different. More busy. More, "I am tired, can we rain check?" And, "I have to help my mom tonight." I told myself it was just life. People get stressed. Work piles up. I did not want to be the guy who gets clingy or starts fights. So I backed off, gave her space, waited for it to pass. This Thursday, my boss cut us loose early. We finished a big job ahead of schedule and he said we could call it a day. I walked out into the warm afternoon sun and for once I was not dead on my feet. Right away, I thought of Kayla. We had not had a real date in a while. I decided to surprise her. On the way home, I swung by a grocery store and bought a small bouquet of flowers. Mixed colors, nothing fancy. I grabbed a pack of her favorite chocolate bars at the register too. The cashier smiled and said, "Somebody is trying to earn points." I laughed, but inside I felt a small knot of nerves. Kayla still lived with her mom in a quiet neighborhood on the north side of Austin. One-story house, white siding, blue shutters, a small front porch with 2 rocking chairs. There was always a row of potted plants by the steps. Her mom took pride in those. She posted pictures of them online like they were grandkids. Her mom's name is Laura. She is 46, works as a nurse. I met her a handful of times. Dinners, quick visits. She always seemed calm and kind, tired around the eyes but steady. She has light brown hair with a few gray strands she never bothered to hide. She has that kind of presence that makes you sit up straighter without thinking about it. I pulled into their driveway just as the sky started to turn gold. It was one of those warm Texas evenings where the air feels heavy but not yet hot. Kids, bikes lay in a yard across the street. Someone was grilling nearby. The smell of meat and smoke drifted over the quiet street. Kayla's car was not in the driveway. That gave me a small pause, but I told myself she might have parked on the street. I grabbed the flowers and chocolate from the passenger seat, took a breath, and walked up the path. I knocked on the front door, already picturing her face when she saw me. Maybe she would laugh, throw her arms around me, say she was happy I came. I was ready for that. I was not ready for what I got instead. The door opened, and it was Laura. She wore dark jeans and a simple navy t-shirt, her hair tied back in a low ponytail. No makeup, just a tired softness in her face, like she had just gotten off a long shift. Her eyes, though, were sharp and clear. The second she saw me, something in them shifted. Relief, maybe. Or decision. "Hey, Jake," she said quietly. "Hey, Laura," I answered, smiling out of habit. "Kayla home?" quote. She held my gaze, and for a second she did not answer. Then she took a slow breath. "Kayla is not here," she said, "but I am glad you came." She opened the door wider. "We need to talk." Those 4 words hit me like a small punch to the gut. We need to talk. Every guy knows that phrase is never just light chat. My fingers tightened around the flowers. The chocolate bar wrapper crinkled under my grip. I tried to keep my voice level. Is everything okay? She stepped back, giving me room to enter. Her face was calm, but her jaw was set, like she had made up her mind about something hard. "Come in, Jake," she said. "Please." The house smelled like lemon cleaner and something warm, maybe coffee or baked bread. A small lamp was on in the living room. The TV was off. The place was neat, but there was a blanket half folded on the couch, like someone had been sitting there, thinking. I stood there for a moment, unsure, then stepped inside. I set the flowers and chocolate down on the entry table. They looked out of place, too bright, too cheerful. Laura closed the door behind me. The soft click of the lock sounded louder than it should have. "Sit down," she said, motioning toward the couch. I sat. The cushions dipped under my weight. My hands felt heavy. My mind raced. I thought of Kayla. Was she hurt? Was this about us? Had I done something wrong? Laura took the armchair across from me. She did not rush. She crossed her legs, rested her hands on her knee, and looked right at me. For a minute, nobody spoke. The clock on the wall ticked. A car drove by outside. I felt like I was waiting for a judge to read a sentence. "Jake," she said finally. "Before I say anything, I need you to promise me something." My throat felt dry. "Okay." "Promise me you will listen all the way through," she said. "No walking out, no cutting me off. Just listen. You deserve the truth, and I need to say it right." The way she said, "deserve the truth," sent a cold line down my back. "I promise," I said, even though my chest felt tight. She nodded once, like that was what she needed to hear. "Good," she said, "because this is not easy, for you or for me." She glanced at the flowers on the table, then back at me. There was a small pain in her eyes when she saw them. It made my stomach twist. "Kayla should be the one telling you this," she said. "But she is not here, and she has not been honest with you for a while." My heart dropped. "What do you mean?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Laura took another breath, slower this time. The kind of breath you take before you tear off a bandage. "I am going to tell you about Kayla," she said. "But I am also going to tell you something about myself, and when I am done, you may never look at me the same way again." Her words hung in the air between us. My pulse hammered in my ears. I stared at her, feeling the ground under my feet shift even though I was sitting. She held my gaze, eyes steady, and leaned forward just a little. "First," she said, her voice low but clear, "you need to know where Kayla really has been when she told you she was working late." Quote. Laura looked straight at me as she spoke, and there was no hesitation in her eyes. "Kayla has not been working late most of the time," she said. "She has been with someone else." The words hit like someone had knocked the air out of my lungs. I stared at her, waiting for her to laugh, to say it was a joke, a mistake, anything. She did not look like she was joking. "With who?" I asked, my voice rough. "A guy from her office," she said. "His name is Mark. He is older than she is, divorced. He has money, a nice car, and he likes to show it off." I almost laughed at that, not because it was funny, but because it sounded like a cheap movie. But there was nothing fake about the way Laura's face looked. Tired, sad, a little angry. "How do you know?" I asked. "I have seen his car in the driveway when she told you she was working," she said. "I heard them in her room. I did not want to, but this is a small house. And last week she left her phone on the table while she took a shower. A message came in from him. I was not trying to snoop, but it was right there." Quote. She swallowed, her fingers curling into her jeans. "It was not work talk," she said quietly. "It was about missing her hands, her lips. About last night and next time." My stomach turned. The room felt hot all of a sudden. I leaned back into the couch, staring at the ceiling for a second, like maybe the fan could spin this away. "How long?" I asked. "A couple of months at least," Laura said. "Maybe longer." I kept hoping she would tell you herself, that she would end it or be honest with you. But she did not. She kept using my name as an excuse. saying she needed to help me or I needed her here, when really she was doing the opposite of helping. Her voice shook on that last word. She blinked fast and looked away for a moment. I looked at the flowers on the table. The bright petals looked fake now. The chocolate bar lay there, shiny wrapper catching the light. It all felt stupid, soft, pointless. "Why did you not call me?" I asked quietly. "Why wait until now?" Laura let out a long breath. She did not rush her answer. "Because she is my daughter," she said. "I love her. I wanted to believe she would grow up and do the right thing without me stepping in. I kept telling myself it was not my place, that you were adults and you would figure it out." She paused, then met my eyes again. "But this week, she told me she was going away with him for the weekend," Laura said. "She told you she was going to visit a friend in Dallas. I could not sit here and watch you walk in with flowers, thinking everything was fine, while she was planning that. I could not let her use my house as cover one more time." I felt something hard settle in my chest, not loud anger, not shouting, just a deep, dull hurt. "So she is not even in Austin," I said. Laura shook her head. "She left this morning. She will not be back until Sunday." Silence thickened in the room. The clock ticked on the wall. The house felt like it knew what had just been said and was waiting for my reaction. "I am sorry, Jake," she said. "You did nothing to deserve this." I rubbed my hands over my face. They felt heavy, like they belonged to someone else. I thought about all the times Kayla had texted me that she was tired, that she needed to reschedule, that she wished she could see me, but work was crazy. I had believed her. Every single time. "I feel like an idiot," I said. "You are not an idiot," Laura said, her voice firm. "You trusted someone you cared about. That does not make you foolish. It makes you decent." I let my hands drop and looked at her. She held my gaze without flinching. "Did she know you were going to tell me?" I asked. "No," she said. If she knew, she would have begged me not to or tried to spin it. I did not give her that chance. "Why?" I asked. "Why go against your own daughter like that?" Laura sat back, her shoulders slumping for the first time since I had walked in. The strong, calm nurse I knew looked smaller for a moment. Not weak, but human. "Because I could not watch you be used anymore," she said. "And because I have been lying too, in my own way." My heart gave a small jump at those words. "What do you mean?" I asked. She looked down at her hands, then back up at me. Her eyes were softer now, but there was a kind of steel in them too, like she had decided this was the moment, and there was no going back. "You come around here with your tired eyes and your work boots," she said, a small smile touching her lips for half a second. "You fix things that are not your job to fix. The sink, the loose cabinet door, the broken light on the porch. You bring my daughter coffee when she is stressed and you never complain when she cancels on you." She shook her head a little, like she could not believe she was saying this out loud. "I noticed that," she said. "I noticed you." My mouth went dry. The air in the room felt different now, closer. "Laura," I said quietly. "I know how this sounds," she said, not looking away. "I am older. I am her mother. I should not feel anything but simple thanks. But the truth is, I have watched you care for someone who did not care back the same way. And I have found myself wishing you had come into my life at a different time, in a different way." Her words landed slowly, one by one, like soft stones dropping into deep water. "You have feelings for me?" I asked. The words felt strange in my mouth, but I needed to hear them clear. She did not blush. She did not laugh it off. "Yes," she said, "I do. I did not plan it. I did not want it. I tried to ignore it, but it is there." I stared at her, at the faint lines by her eyes from years of long shifts, at the way she sat, straight but tired, like she had held her world together alone for a long time, at the way she looked at me, not like a kid, not like a problem, but like a man. "I know it is wrong in a lot of ways," she added, her voice softer now. "I know it is messy. That people would judge. That you might judge. But if I was going to ask you to face the truth about Kayla, I had to face my own truth with you too." For a few seconds, I could not speak. My mind tried to hold two things at once. Kayla in some hotel room with another man, and Laura sitting here, honest and steady, telling me she saw me, not as her daughter's boyfriend, as something else. I do not know what to say, I admitted. You do not have to say anything right now, she said. I am not asking you for an answer. I am not asking you to do anything at all. I just could not keep lying to both of us. She stood up then, like she needed to move, or her own thoughts would crush her. She walked to the small shelf by the window, straightened a picture frame, then turned back to me. If you want to walk out that door and never come back, I will understand, she said. You can hate me, you can hate her, but at least you will know what was real and what was not. I stood up slowly. The room tilted a little as the weight of the night settled on my shoulders. I do not hate you, I said. Our eyes met again. There was a question in hers, quiet and scared. I just need time, I added, to think, to breathe. My head is spinning. She nodded once, like she expected that. Take all the time you need, she said. I will not text you. I will not push. This is your choice now. I walked to the door, picked up the flowers and the chocolate, then paused. The flowers looked silly now, but leaving them felt worse. I set them back down. They are not for her, I said without thinking. Not anymore. Do what you want with them. Her lips parted just a little, and something moved in her eyes that I could not name. Jake, she said softly. I am sorry. I opened the door. The evening air hit my face, warm and thick. I stepped out onto the porch and let the door close behind me. As I walked to my truck, my chest ached, my mind replaying everything she had said, Kayla's lies, Laura's truth. And under all the noise, one thing kept coming back to me. The way Laura had looked at me when she said, I noticed you. I drove home with the windows down, the Austin night rolling past in a blur of lights. I did not know what I was going to do. I did not know what any of this meant. But I knew one thing for sure. I was not just thinking about my girlfriend anymore. I do not remember much about the drive home that night. Just the way the traffic lights blurred and the hum of my truck's engine filled the silence. I parked outside my apartment and sat there with the key still in the ignition, staring at the steering wheel like it might tell me what to do. Kayla was with someone else. That part was simple in a painful way. Facts, times, messages. A man named Mark. A weekend away. There was no maybe or you misunderstood to hold on to. It hurt, but it was clear. Laura had feelings for me. That part was not simple. It was messy and quiet, and felt like standing at the edge of a cliff in the dark. I did not know if I was supposed to jump or walk away. I went inside, dropped my keys on the counter, and let myself fall onto the couch. The springs groaned under me. The room was dim, lit only by a streetlight bleeding through the blinds. My phone buzzed once. Kayla's name flashed on the screen. Kayla. Hey babe, made it to Dallas. Missing you already. I stared at the message. It felt unreal, like reading a script from a play I was no longer in. My chest tightened with a mix of anger and something like grief. I typed, deleted, typed again. Finally, I sent just one line. Me, we need to talk when you get back. The dots showed up like she was typing, then disappeared. No answer. I dropped the phone on the coffee table and leaned back, closing my eyes. Laura's voice echoed in my head. You trusted someone you cared about. That does not make you foolish. It makes you decent. I did not sleep much that night. I would drift off, then jerk awake, my mind replaying everything in pieces. Kayla's laugh, her late-night excuses. The way Laura had looked at me when she said, I noticed you. By morning, my eyes burned, and my head ached, but my decision felt clear in a dull, heavy way. This could not wait. I could not sit through more lies. When Sunday rolled around, Kayla texted again. Kayla, home. Want to come over? I stared at the message for a long second, then replied. Me. No. Meet me at the coffee shop by the river, 30 minutes. "Kayla, is everything okay?" "Me. Just meet me." I showered, pulled on clean jeans and a plain gray shirt, and drove across town. The coffee shop was a small place near the water with chipped tables and a chalkboard menu. I had brought Kayla there on our third date. We had shared a muffin and talked until they closed. She was already there when I walked in, sitting at a table by the window. Her hair was up in a loose bun, a pair of sunglasses on her head. She smiled when she saw me, but there was a flicker of something else in her eyes. Maybe guilt, maybe fear. "Hey," she said, standing up a little, like she was not sure if she should hug me. I sat down instead. "Hey." She sank back into her chair. "You sound serious. You are scaring me." I watched her for a second, the way she twisted the paper sleeve on her coffee cup, the way she could not quite meet my eyes. "Where did you really go this weekend?" I asked. Her fingers stilled. "I told you. Dallas. My friend Mia." I shook my head slowly. "No, you went away with Mark. Your mom told me. She knows about the texts, the nights he was here." Her face went pale, then flushed red. Her mouth opened, but no words came out at first. "She had no right," she said finally, her voice tight. "That is my life. She always sticks her nose where it should not be." Quote. I let out a short breath. "Kayla, this is not about your mom. This is about you and me. Is it true?" She looked down at her hands. Her shoulders sagged like a balloon losing air. "Yes," she whispered. "It is true." The coffee shop hummed around us. Mugs clinked. Someone laughed at a table behind me. A song played faint and distant. None of it touched the space between us. "How long?" I asked. "A few months," she said. "It just happened." He flirted. I was stressed at work, and I did not think it would be serious. I thought I could handle both until I figured out what I wanted. "You thought you could handle both," I repeated. She winced. "I know how that sounds. I am sorry, Jake. I never meant to hurt you." "You did," I said. My voice was calm, but it felt like something inside me was tearing. "Every time you lied, every time you used your mom as an excuse, you hurt me. You made me feel like things were just off because of work. You let me think it was my fault for wanting more time with you." "I did not want to lose you," she said, her eyes wet now. "You are good, Jake. You are steady. Mark is fun and wild and stupid, and I got caught up in that. I thought I could decide later. I know that was wrong. I know." She reached across the table like she was going to grab my hand. I pulled mine back. "Do you love me?" I asked. She swallowed, her lip trembling. "I care about you a lot, I do. But I do not know if I am ready for the kind of love you want. You talk about saving for a house, about future stuff. That scares me. I feel young. I feel like I am missing something." The honesty stung almost more than the lies. "You could have told me that," I said. "You could have sat down with me and said you were not ready. Instead, you found someone else and let me keep showing up like nothing was wrong." "I know," she whispered. "I am sorry." "I am so sorry." A tear slid down her cheek. Months ago, I would have reached out and wiped it away. Now, I just watched it fall. "We are done," I said. She looked up fast. "Jake, wait, please. We can fix this. I can end things with him. I can try to do better." "You already chose," I said. "Not just once. Over and over. I cannot trust you now, and I do not want to be someone's safe option while they chase someone else." Her shoulders shook. She nodded slowly, pressing her lips together. "I understand," she said, her voice barely there. "I do not blame you." We sat there in silence for a bit. There was nothing left to say that would change anything. Finally, I stood up. "I will bring your things by later this week," I said. "You can leave mine with your mom. I will pick them up from her." She flinched at that, but did not argue. "Goodbye, Kayla," I said. "Goodbye, Jake," she whispered. I walked out into the bright Austin sun. The light felt too sharp after the dim coffee shop. The river shimmered nearby. People laughed and walked dogs like it was any other day. For them, it was. For me, something had ended in a quiet, final way. I drove aimlessly for a while, past the river, past downtown, through neighborhoods where kids rode bikes and sprinklers clicked in lawns. I thought about the last 9 months with Kayla. The good parts were real. The touch of her hand on my arm, the way she had fallen asleep on my chest during a movie. the jokes we shared. But now, all of it had a shadow. I pulled into a small park and sat on a bench under a tree. The shade cooled my skin, but did nothing for the ache in my chest. I thought about calling someone, my brother, a friend from work. But every time I pictured telling them what happened, it all felt thin and hollow. Instead, my mind went back to Laura, to the way she had sat in that armchair, voice steady while she broke her own heart a little to tell me the truth. To the way she had said, "I noticed you," like it was not a line, but a confession. My phone buzzed. A new message. "Laura, I heard she is back. I am guessing you talked. You do not have to answer. I just hope you are okay." I stared at the screen for a while. Part of me wanted to keep my distance, to give myself time like I had said. Another part of me felt like her message was the first solid thing I had touched all day. Me. "We talked. It is over. You were right. Laura, I am sorry, Jake. Truly, me. Thank you for telling me. I mean it. Laura, if you ever need to get out of your head for a bit, the back porch here is open. No pressure, no heavy talk unless you want it. Just iced tea and quiet." I read that last line 3 times. Just iced tea and quiet. I did not answer right away. I sat there on the bench, watching a couple toss a ball for their dog. The wind moved through the leaves above me, making a soft rustle that almost covered the sound of my own thoughts. I thought about what it would mean to go back there. To sit on her porch. To accept comfort from the mother of the woman who had just broken my heart. It should have felt wrong. It did not. It just felt honest. 30 minutes later, my truck turned onto Laura's street. 30 minutes later, my truck turned onto Laura's street, and my heart started beating harder like it wanted to back out even if the rest of me kept driving. Her house looked the same as always. White siding, blue shutters, the potted plants lined up on the porch. It was late afternoon, the sun starting to slide down, casting long shadows across the yard. A light breeze moved the leaves on the trees, and somewhere down the block a lawnmower hummed. I parked at the curb and just sat there for a second with my hands on the steering wheel. Part of me felt crazy for coming. I had just broken up with her daughter a few hours ago. Now I was here, answering a simple text that did not feel simple at all. Just iced tea and quiet. I took a deep breath, got out, and walked up the path. Before I could knock, the front door opened, and Laura stepped out. She wore soft gray sweatpants and a loose black t-shirt, her hair pulled up in a messy bun. No makeup, just the natural lines of her face, tired but gentle. She looked surprised to see me so soon, but not unhappy. "Hey," she said, her voice soft. "Hey," I answered. We stood there for a second, both unsure what to do. Then she stepped aside and motioned toward the side of the house. "Come on," she said. "We will go out back." I followed her through the kitchen and out the sliding glass door onto the small porch. There were 2 chairs, a little table between them, and a view of the yard with a patch of grass and some flowers along the fence. A pitcher of iced tea sat on the table sweating in the heat, with 2 glasses already set out. She had been ready, whether she expected me to come or not. We sat down. The wood under my chair creaked. She poured tea into both glasses, the ice clinking softly. For a while, neither of us spoke. The air was warm but not bad, and the hum of insects filled the quiet. "How did it go?" she asked finally, keeping her eyes on her glass. "It is over," I said. She admitted it, said she was not ready for what I wanted, said she liked the thrill with him. Laura's jaw tightened for a second, then relaxed. "I am sorry," she said. "Even when you know the truth already, hearing it still hurts." "Yeah," I said, "it does." I took a sip of the tea. It was cold, sweet, and bitter all at once. Kind of like how the day felt. "I did not tell her you told me everything," I added. "I figured that is between you and her." Quote, "She will find a way to blame me anyway," Laura said with a tired half-smile. "She always does when things do not go how she pictured, but she made her choices. You did what you had to do." We sat in silence again. I watched a bird hop along the fence, tilt its head, then fly off. My chest still hurt, but the sharp edge of it was dulling a little. I keep wondering, I said quietly, if there was something I could have done different. If I was too much, not enough, too boring, too serious, I do not know. You loved her the way you knew how, Laura said. That is not a flaw. Some people are not ready for steady. They think chaos is more exciting. One day maybe she will realize what she lost. That is her path, not yours. I looked at her. You talk like you have been here before. She gave a small, rueful laugh. I have, with my husband, with a few people after. I spent a lot of years wondering what I could have done different. At some point I realized I could either keep blaming myself, or I could accept that some people just do not know how to hold something good when they have it. The way she said it made something in me unclench. The messed up part, I said, is that even with everything she did, I do not hate her. I am angry, sure, hurt, but a part of me still wants her to be okay. That is because you are a good man, Laura said. It is also why I could not keep watching her use you. We met eyes then, and this time neither of us looked away. I keep thinking about what you said, I admitted, my voice low, about you, about having feelings for me. Her fingers tightened around her glass. Jake, you do not have to talk about that right now. You have had a lot dropped on you. Your heart is raw. The last thing I want is to be another weight on it. You are not a weight, I said. That is the thing. When you told me the truth, it hurt, but it also felt like someone finally turned the light on. She watched me carefully, like she was afraid to breathe too loud. I do not know exactly what I feel yet, I went on. I just know that when you said you noticed me, I felt seen in a way I have not in a long time. Maybe ever. Not as someone's backup plan. Not as the guy who just gets things done. As me. Her eyes softened. That is because you are worth seeing. The words were simple, but they landed heavy in my chest, pushing out some of the leftover ache. This is complicated, I said. You know that. I do, she said. I am older. I am your ex-girlfriend's mom. People would talk. Some would think it is wrong, no matter what we feel. I nodded. I have thought about that a lot in the last day, about what people would say, about Kayla, about lines and rules. And? She asked. And I realized something, I said. The only people who live my life are me and whoever I choose to share it with. Everyone else just watches from the outside and gives opinions. I have been doing the right thing my whole life, and it still landed me here getting cheated on. She let out a slow breath. So where does that leave us? Quote, I looked down at my hands, then back at her. She was sitting there on that simple porch, in worn clothes, hair up, tired from life but still showing up. She looked more real than anyone had in a long time. It leaves us with a choice, I said. We can pretend none of this happened. Go back to me being the guy who used to date your daughter and you being just her mom. Or we can be honest. Go slow. See what this is without lying to ourselves or anyone else. You would be okay with that? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. With us. Whatever that means. I do not know what it will look like, I said, but I know I want to find out. With you, if you still want that. For a second, I thought she was going to cry. Her eyes shone, but the tears stayed put. I have spent a lot of years putting myself last, she said quietly. I stayed strong for Kayla, for my patients, for everyone who needed me. Somewhere along the way, I forgot what it felt like to want something for myself. When you started coming around, fixing things, asking how my day was like you actually cared about the answer, it woke something up I thought was gone. She paused, then gave a small, honest smile. So yes, she said, I still want that. I want to see where this goes. Carefully, respectfully, but I want it. The air between us felt charged, but not in a loud way. More like a quiet hum under the skin. I set my glass down and turned my chair a little closer to hers. Not too close. Just enough. Can I asked, holding my hand out, palm up. She looked at it like it was something precious, then placed her hand in mine. Her skin was warm, her grip firm but gentle. It was such a small thing, holding hands on a back porch, but it felt bigger than a dozen flashy dates. "This is going to take time," she said. "We will have to deal with Kayla, with what people think, with our own doubts." "I know," I said. "I am not asking for easy. I am just asking for real." She squeezed my hand, then leaned back in her chair, still holding on. "We can do real," she said, "one day at a time." Quote, "The sun dipped lower, painting the yard in orange and pink. A neighbor's dog barked. Someone somewhere turned on music, faint and distant. We sat there, fingers linked, saying nothing for a while. And for the first time in a long time, the quiet did not feel empty. As the sky darkened, Laura turned her head and looked at me again. There was a question in her eyes, gentle and unsure. "Jake?" she said. "Yeah?" "Thank you for coming back," she said. "You did not have to. You could have walked away and never looked at me again." "I thought about it," I admitted. "But then I remembered the first thing you said to me that night." She frowned slightly. "Which part?" "We need to talk," I said. Most people say that when something is ending. With us, I think it was the first time something honest started. A slow smile spread across her face, and this time it reached all the way to her eyes. "I like that," she said. The porch light flicked on above us as the last of the daylight faded. Our hands stayed joined between the two chairs, anchored in the middle of all the mess and history and newness. It was not a perfect moment. My heart was still bruised. Her past still sat quiet in the corners of the house, but sitting there beside her, fingers laced, I felt something I had not felt in a long time. Hope.